Greetings. Greetings to the family. Glad to have you here for another edition of Run Tell That. Yes, this is our cultural magazine show that we want you to run tell that. We're going to give you information and run tell that. We had some things that we were lined up to talk about tonight, but there's some breaking news that has not come out of Tybee Island. So guess what? Tybee Island is back at it again. Tybee is back at it again. And this time it's not involving Jamal Touré, but Jamal Touré is going to get himself involved in the matter because it's tied to our brother James Bennett, better known as JB, who is a real estate tycoon here in the area, but also a businessman in the area, in addition to an owner of a restaurant, Cool Vibes, and other business interests inside Chatham County. And so what happened, some of y'all know that JB has acquired property on Tybee Island, a mansion on Tybee Island. That again, that any of you could go and rent to now stay on Tybee Island. He had put it out there. And what's so wonderful, this was a part of the Kwanza Krawl that he discussed during the Kwanza Krawl that we're going to also be talking about later on, the new aspect of the Krawl. So, but what has happened that, and I shared this again, this is interesting, that at the Kwanza Krawl that occurred at Liquid Cafe, we went and recognized some of the other businesses that had supported us. What arose at that time when he came up, I shared with folks something I didn't even talk with him, that when he acquired that property, a person of African descent acquired that property of that facility. People had told me about what had happened. They talked about this black man who had now acquired this property, and that the Caucasians on Tybee were upset about it, that it was a black person that had acquired the property. Now, what we found out and what we discussed, that they were even trying to create an HOA, a POA, an HOA. This is why I share folks that they now, here go on a municipal street, they were not going to create an HOA now to have restrictions. And you know what the restrictions were about. We don't have to play any games about this as if and be naive about it. It was about him. So what we have found out that they want to invite him, or they want to acknowledge him with regards to the HOA, acknowledge him being a part of being a resident there. Which again, the restrictions, because what he has shared with folks from what I was told, that he said that everyone could come and enjoy themselves at Tybee. They want to have a party there in his mansion, they could do that. He had the space, just like all other Airbnbs. He was now renting it as a part of entrepreneurial spirit. But now they're trying to find a way to restrict him. And they think that it's okay. And they think that by sending it to him, that was going to just be it. No, he had the wherewithal to now bring the light to it. And this is what I tell folks all the time. Rats and roaches do not like the light. Rats and roaches do not like the light, and you have to expose them. When you expose them, they begin to scatter. So he at least put a post out there on Facebook that I got tagged in, and I was like, yes, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make my own call to the mayor of Tybee and also to the city manager of Tybee and let them know this is what we're talking about, and they are even continuing. It's not pertaining to Jamal Touré in the situation, but it's pertaining to one of us. And so again, breaking news at Tybee Island with regards to, again, the same racist mentalities still exist. It's not changing, and we're going to have to do more with regards to exposing them and to address them with regards to this. We might have to tell people, boycott Tybee Island. That might have to become the campaign. Of course, sometimes in that, there's a sacrifice that has to be made. We might have to say, boycott Tybee, or we may need to pinpoint specific businesses on Tybee. Wow, Jamal, that's kind of unique. That's kind of good. We can go ahead, because there are some African-American businesses on Tybee. We can go and emphasize supporting those businesses or businesses that believe in equity. Yeah, we can go to JB. We can tell everybody, as opposed to going to some of the hotels, contact JB. That's what we do. Let's start a campaign and tell people, contact JB to stay at his place as opposed to stay at the hotels on Tybee. And let our restaurants on Tybee be the ones that you support. That's what we're going to do, because now we say, run, tell that. Yes, breaking news on Tybee. That's how we operate. That's what we do. We stand up for us. Now, we'll move on to the next one. This is about, why do some of us get a kick out of the pain and the fall of other people? You know that some of us, we have people that we associate with, friends, family members, co-workers, church members, people in our civic and social organizations, in our fraternities and sororities, in our neighborhoods. You know that some people, they get a kick and a joy out of other people having pain. Yeah, they get a kick out of it. They like that. They like to see people fail. As I tell people, that is not natural. Oh yeah, run, tell that, or we get philosophical. That's what we do, because I say it's not just about politics. It's not just about education. It's not just about history and culture. It's not just about spirituality. We get philosophical. And so we look at things like that and say, that is a problem. You should not take pleasure off of someone else gaining pain or losing out on something. Some of us, when somebody falls from grace, as people go and say, some of us enjoy that and we like that. I'm saying to you, that is problematic. That is not healthy. Instead, as opposed to wanting someone to be in pain, to be in anguish, and to fail, we should want to actually extol them to be better, to excel, to be great. Because when someone else is being great, that provides an opportunity for you to also be brought up with regards to greatness, to experience it also. And even if it's not you, it might be a family member, a relative, a friend, somebody from the neighborhood. But guess what? Sometimes we get a kick out of somebody else's pain. And then what do? We go and spread it and share it. We enjoy the fact that somebody else has failed, somebody has failed. So I'm sharing this with regard to run, tell that. Tell those people who are out there enjoying getting pleasure off of someone else's anguish, someone else's pain, that somebody has fallen from grace, that we not let them know, no, that's not what we're about. Because you want to be a liberated person. A liberated person will not function like that. Oppressed people function like that. People who have issues going on with themselves function like that. If you have self-love, you don't get any pleasure out of anything like that. You don't get any kick, you don't get any joy out of that. You don't get any jollies out of that. But you actually feel empathy or sympathy when someone falls from grace. And you do what you can, even if it's just to pray for them to not be able to ascend. Oh, wait a minute, Jamal. Wait a minute. These are people who talk about they're spiritual. And they feel and they take those type of demeanors, those attitudes with regard to people falling from grace, that they enjoy that and like that, and even gossip about it. So that goes to tell me that you're not the religious person that you think that you are. Because again, religious people, spiritual people want someone to ascend. They don't want somebody to descend, because that's not why you were put here. You're put here to help someone to achieve greatness, because they were put here to help you to achieve greatness. That's why we don't get any kick, any pleasure out of somebody falling from grace, anyone failing. And then we're going to put it out there, social media. We put it out there in the family. We go on the telephone. We call, we text, we chat. No, that's not what we do. Now we're going to move on to the next segment with regards to us. And that's with regards to, we have just celebrated across this entire country and in the world for this matter, a great man by the name of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Yeah, we've just celebrated Dr. King. Now, let me share this with you. I'm kind of tired. I'm kind of tired of some of your themes for Dr. King. I'm kind of tired. I don't know if it's, well, excuse me. I'm fine with me feeling this way, but I know some of you feel the same way. I am tired that every King program has something to do with a dream. That something regarding Dr. King is always involving a dream. Wake up, as the people say, wake up, wake up. That was not King's life. I did a lecture to my scholars. I wanted to give them a lecture. I told them, I said, listen, your life should not be reduced down to one moment in time. I'll repeat, your life should not be reduced to one moment in time. And so that's how it is with Dr. King. His life is reduced to only 1963. 1963. And everybody talking about Dr. King and his dream, about his speech. I have a dream. When the speech actually came from a woman, a minister by the name of Reverend Prathia Hall out of Philadelphia, who was at Mount Olive Baptist Church down in Terrell County, Georgia, she was a student, college student, and she spoke about that, having a dream. So Mark got it from him, and some of y'all heard me discuss this. But then it is tiring that when all y'all want to talk about the man's dream, that is insane. That's 1963. Where King was in 1967, 1968, totally different ball game. Totally different ball game. Because King now had left just focusing on civil rights, that King now became someone that was interested in international human rights. King became interested in human rights, not just domestic rights here in the United States, civil rights, but human rights, because that's when he opposed the war in Vietnam, 1967. Oh, let me share this with you. When King now goes and talks about being opposing the war in Vietnam, people turned against King. Some of the same ones that y'all give accolades to, who now talk about how they was right, they were marching in 1967. I tell folks, ask them, where were they in 1967 when King was around? And in fact, when you go to 1968, when he was assassinated a year later, guess what? King popularity had plummeted. It had plummeted, had gone down. So a lot of people were not following. A lot of the ministers, and see, you got ministers today talk about turning the other cheek and other stuff like that and all that, and they talk about what Martin represented. But guess what? Some of them did not support Martin Luther King his last days. The NAACP wasn't down with King. They had kind of despised King throughout. So because they were kind of jealous. And so now that brings us to us here. I'm going to share this with you all, that you are in Savannah, Georgia, in Chatham County, Georgia, Low Country of South Carolina, Bluffton, Beaufort County, Jasper County, coastal Georgia. Now, what people may not tell you this, but guess what? King wasn't dealing with the NAACP like that in this area. And that some of the people that are going to talk about, they clamor to King right now, and they talk the NAACP. Guess what? That wasn't happening. King came to this area right here because of violence. I'll let that soak in. Dr. King came to Savannah, Georgia, came here to coastal Georgia, southern South Carolina because of violence. Oh, I know what you say on St. Helena. I know what you say on St. Helena. I know what you say at Dorchester Academy. I know what y'all say in Hinesville, Midway, and on St. Helena. You know, at Penn Center. I know what y'all say. Y'all just as bad too about that god doggone mythology. Yeah, that's what we promote. We promote mythology. So this is not Caucasians giving you mythology, it's black folks giving you mythology. So King came to Savannah, Georgia because of violence. In fact, I'm gonna paraphrase it for you. King was in Atlanta, and King saw the violence that was happening here in Savannah. And King, I'm just gonna paraphrase, King found that to be sexy. Yeah. Dr. King thought it was sexy what was happening in Savannah, the violence that was going on in Savannah, the riots that were happening in Savannah, because there were riots. And so King found that sexy. He found that exciting because he understood about agitation. That was the strategy, that they were going to have agitation and negotiation. And he realized something, that in a place called Savannah, Georgia, Chatham County, Georgia, the Chatham County Crusade for Voters were doing agitation that would bring about changes. Oh, I forgot. Y'all thought it was just the NAACP in Savannah because WW Law told you that. I'm going to let you know this right now. WW Law, Mr. Law, rewrote the civil rights history in Savannah. And as I shared with someone, I said, you know what is so bad? Bad. When people who know the truth will believe the lies, that they forget all about the truth that was really there and they get focused on the lies. So WW Law, to help you all out right now, rewrote the Savannah history regarding Chatham County history regarding civil rights in this area. And not only here in Savannah, Chatham County, but in coastal Georgia and southern South Carolina. So that's why all y'all run with this stuff about King and talking about nonviolence. King came to Savannah, as I say, specifically because of the riots that were here that brought about agitation that caused Savannah to become desegregated. Now, some of y'all say King would be opposed to that. If Martin was so opposed to that, why would they go and hold the 8th annual SCLC National Convention here in Savannah, Georgia, at the Municipal Auditorium? Jose Williams, Ben Clark, Trash Brownlee, Big Les Hankerson, they were the ones that had King to come in, because King had liked what he saw, that these people right here in Savannah and Chatham County will fight for their rights. They will stand up for their rights. They were having marches during the day and marches at night. Oh, there's a lot more to the story. So I want you all now here in Savannah, Chatham County, Georgia, to run tell that. Because see, some people who were involved in the civil rights movement, who y'all give accolades to, they're living right now still today. They can't tell you what was happening at certain points in time because they weren't even in the city. Wait a minute, Jamal, what did you just say? Some of the people who y'all go and tout, who y'all let go tell y'all stories about Dr. King and the NAACP and all these stories like that, they were not even in the city. They were in other places. They were not in Savannah. So they weren't even around when some of this was happening. So, but you all rely on them to tell you the history here. And then Mr. Law, as I say, shaded it. He ignored Benjamin Van Clark, but Dr. King wanted Benjamin Van Clark, Hosea Williams. That's what went on. So I'm saying to you all, we better stop. The next King celebration in Savannah, tell your ministers and your leaders to cut out this stuff about the dream. Let's go to the real deal about King, what King really wanted in Savannah. He wanted the agitation because we were doing great things here. And that's why we became a major city, become desegregated before any other city in the state of Georgia and throughout the entire South, Savannah, Georgia. And it's based on the Chatham County Crusade for Voters right here. Jackie Robinson was here for the convention. A. Philip Randolph here for the convention. Yeah. So that's why if they ain't like the violence in Savannah, they wouldn't be here for the convention. So yes. So I had to throw that out there. So I want y'all to run tell that. And we're going to move on to someone else, because what we're going to be doing with regards to our show, we're going to have some great guests coming on. Like next week, I'll let you know, Anthony Mabin, Voices in the Struggle, will be on the show next week. And we're going to be focusing on some things about protection, about Black folks and protection, because sometimes Black folks shy away from that. But we're going to have Brother Ant Mabin on. But this week right here, I'm so happy, I'm so excited that what's happening. I got great people coming. Like I said, Ant Mabin, he's the epitome of something that I'm going to tell you about next week. But then I also got on this week right here, and we're so honored to have as our first guest on the show, it is Sister Kandyce Moreau Briggs. Now, I got to say this, for those of you who might not know this, but my sister knows this, and I have to say this, her husband, Brother Corey Briggs, they are my family. I'm going to let y'all know, I love the Briggs family. Even when they travel, they remember me. And I was just so stunned. Corey came back, gave me a sandstone from Africa. I was like, wow, my family, they remember me. They remember me. But there is a 1,890-pound orange elephant in the room when it comes to Sister Kandyce Monroe Briggs, because she is, let you all know, and her husband, Corey Briggs, they are fanatical. Whoa! See right there, they are fanatics. They are fanatics. They are fanatics for an institution called Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University called FAMU, and she's doing the strike right now. As I said, that's the 1,890-pound elephant in the room. Oh my God! They put up on the screen, FAMU grad, go Rattlers! I can't believe this. This is disrespectful. This is why Black folks don't have freedom. But we're gonna turn it over to my sister, Kandyce Monroe Briggs. I want let people know who you are. Who are you, sister?
Thank you for having me on, Jamal. Thank you for having me on. You are right. We are fanatical in this family. We are FAMUans till the day we die. We love all HBCUs, but FAMU, the highest of 7 hills, honey, it is the best. It is the absolute best. You know it, right?
LBM is saying no. LBM is saying it's Howard. That was she said. She's wrong too. Well,
FAMU. FAMU. Thank you, gentlemen, for having me on today on this historical day. It is a historical day. I think all of our hearts are full today. And this is perfect to be on here with you gentlemen today. So thank you for having me. My name is Kandyce Briggs. I am a devoted wife and mother. I am a community friend, an advocate, and conduit. And I'm also the owner of CEO of Home, where we empower women to live the lives that they want to live and to own it.
All right. Yes, indeed. Power. Power. So, with regards to you, you have, well, I'm going to rewind because y'all, I like to rewind. You all know that this year, Alderwoman Keisha Gibson Carter started the Kwanza Krawl, and we did that from the 26th to the 1st of January. And normally what happens for Lil Jamal Touré, once January 2nd comes in, he has like a time to relax, to let his hair down, to just chill. I have been doing that for 36 years. That's how my life was. But in 2020 and 2021, things changed because then someone decided to say the crawl must continue. The crawl must continue. I had wanted to run, but I couldn't get too far away because they know how to get a hold of me. And they got a hold of me. And that was our sister, Kandyce Monroe Briggs. And now I'm going to say that she's the chief operating officer of the Krawl Continues. And so the Krawl Continues, chief operating officer, and that I'm let y'all know I'm just a flunky conduit for them. That's all. And I have no problem with that because, again, I'm scared of them rattlers. Because, again, see, our school board representative, you know, Dr. Tanya Howard Hall, she want to talk about the highest of the 7 hills, too. See, like
that's right. Strike, strike, strike. And I had to strike. I mean, what you and Alderwoman Keisha Gibson Carter put together was amazing this year for Kwanzaa. And I was so impressed. I was so impressed. And I said, you know, we live the principles of Kwanzaa throughout the year, 365 days a year. And Jamal, we need to continue this every week this year. So I put the call out and you came and you've shown up. The community has shown up and I have been so pleased. So to everyone, what we do is we will be supporting one of our community businesses a week for 52 weeks. We will be doing that all 2021. And so far we've been working with restaurants. And so we will create a Facebook event and say, hey, this is the restaurant that we are focusing on for this week. Everyone, please go to that restaurant at any given time during that week, whether you want to dine in or carry out. Just support that business. Let's work on group economics every week in 2021. And then during that week, there will also be one designated day where Jamal, Alderwoman Keisha Gibson Carter, and or I will be there to have a meal with you there. And so that's what we're doing. And we will be at 520 Tavern this Sunday for brunch from 11 to 2 p.m. Thank you to everyone who has supported 520 this week so far. And if you want to meet us there for brunch this Sunday, 11 to 2 p.m., we will see you there.
And that was truly a great evolution of the Kwanzaa Krawl. And that's why I tell people it's just like Kwanzaa itself, the celebration of Savannah was a sacred tree or is a sacred tree. And so with Alderwoman Carter, when she came along with the thoughts on the Kwanzaa Krawl, all was it just added another branch to that tree. And then when you came along, you added another branch onto that. And that is something that's powerful that even though, like I said, I want to run from it, but then I understand what it's about. It's about us looking out for us, that economics, the dollars still in our community, that we're supporting one another. And sometimes what we have to do, we have to structure it like this for us to really go and do it. Because if you leave it up to some of us just to our own device, sometimes we won't do it. We'll get a little lazy. It's like exercise. You got to exercise if you want to go ahead and get control of your life physically. And so when you do that, that works out for you. And so that's what I realized. I said, she is not working me out. So that we have to and we do. And we, in fact, we enjoy, we like that with regards to now our people, we now have something. Again, 52 weeks. We can celebrate us 52 weeks economically. That's phenomenal. And I want to let you know that your thoughts, your ideas on that was phenomenal and is phenomenal. And I'm not talking about no Maya Angelou phenomenal woman thing. I'm talking phenomenal the fact that what that represents for us. Because again, it grew. And that others who have been around had not thought about anything like that. But my sister, you thought about it and you helped to make it happen and manifest. So that's why I want to acknowledge you with regard to that. So you are not having an impact on us right here. Right here. And that is tremendous. And we got to give you your accolades with regards to that. Because again, now I say I have mad respect again for you and for Brother Corey. In fact, I'll let you all know you all are like Dr. Betty Shabazz and Malcolm in my eyes. That's how I look at y'all like that. So that's how that's why I be like, okay, that's why I put with Corey his foolishness too. When he come with that strike, all that right there. But again, tremendous work, and you had the vision of saying, hey, Brother Jamal, y'all need to do this. We need to do this, and you step forward. So I want to go ahead and acknowledge you publicly so people understand this is the person who said we have to still go forward, and that's why it continues right now. But that's one part to you. There's more to you. And that's why I want you to put out, because we had a conversation sitting down there too, and I was like, yeah, this is what we need to be about. And that's why we have a sister who's empowering sisters and brothers. That's the balance about us. That's what we do as African people. We do that. That's how we function. We don't be like Western people where they isolate. Yo, we empower. So I want you to throw out your thoughts, your perspectives on how can we be better with regard to what should we be doing? Some more exercise.
I love definitely exercise. And I'm glad you used that word, because what we have to do is create new habits. And we know it takes a long time to create new habits, but if we do it together, and I can lean on you when you get tired, and you can lean on me when you get tired, when I get tired, we will build this together. And so it's actually bigger than Kwanzaa. Yeah, it's much, much bigger than Kwanzaa. It is about building bridges. It is about mending bridges. It is about being a solution to some of the problems that we gripe about and that hold us back. And one of the main things that I believe we all can do is focus on ourselves and our family, because we and our families make up the community. If we get ourselves, when we get ourselves and our families in line, disciplined, giving back, being functional parts of we're going to add to the collective and add to the community. And it starts with self. That's something that you mentioned a little bit earlier tonight. It starts with self, your self-love, your health. Your health is your wealth. That then translates to how we treat our families. That then translates to how we and our families treat other individuals in the community. And that will then help, like you said, this dream, but it will help us wake up and actually start realizing more and more of those dreams today and every day. That is the power. Family is the cornerstone. I am a firm believer. Family is the cornerstone. And sometimes it's not even your blood relatives, it is your chosen family. Friends are your chosen family. It's your neighbors. It is people who smile and welcome you. Those can be family members as well. And we are all family. And so when you talk about how we can be more in the community, it is about taking care of ourselves and our family and what we give back. I'm a firm believer in that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Um, and we had the conversation also that you had a vision with regards to some things that objectives that you want to work on, you were trying to work on years ago. And that's why I thought that this would be a good forum for you to put someone out there. Because when I heard some of it, I was like, yes, this is it right here. This is it. And so I want to be basically let you know, I want to be the first one to go ahead and get out publicly the thoughts and the ideas and the solutions by Candyce Monroe Briggs, our sister. I want to be the first one to say, I was right there when she did that. So, yes, so, because I think that is important with regards to when we talked about it. I'm like, but it's needed in this community.
Well, one of the things that we mentioned when Mr. Roland Martin was here during Kwanzaa and he celebrated with us, he talked about something that really struck home, and it reminded me of a feeling that I had several years ago coming to Savannah and wanting to work with different organizations and not being from Savannah. Jamal, you have really taught me a lot of the history, and that has helped me understand some of the things that I see, but I don't know what it is that I'm looking at. What Roland Martin said was that some of the brokenness within the community is because everyone is working in silos. When everyone is working in silos with so many individual agendas, it is very challenging to get much done. It is very challenging to progress forward as quickly and as effectively as we need to be progressing. And so I would love to continue to be a conduit and a friend to the community, to bring organizations, to bring people, to bring establishments together and say, where can we align? Where can we collaborate? Where can we take 10 programs and maybe create 5 so that the community can have more resources concentrated in those 5 programs, and those 5 programs reach more of the masses? Where can we, again, build new bridges, mend some broken bridges so that more can get done rather than continuing to work in the ineffective silos? Because when you think about resources, it is much more effective to pour resources into one pot than it would be spreading that same amount of resources over 100 pots. You just will not get as much done as you can.
And one of the things that we had discussed and shared that sometimes our egos are the ones that destroy us. Our egos that, and we try to emphasize folks when we tell people about, as opposed to ego, it's about we go. We go together in success. We go together with regards to uplifting. We go to make changes to better our communities. And with that right there, that is when we talk about to the silos. That's what occurs in many cases. That occurs with regards to our churches. That again, sometimes folks are solely caught up into their own ego that they want to be the head, they want to be in charge. And that becomes dangerous for us to be able to be successful because again, we break away. We might have a successful organization, but sometimes that somebody wants to break off, not understanding about the collaboration, about how important that is, because there's a proverb, and Aishan proverb, a Krawl proverb that goes, "Mena pel she palu," which means many hands make the load lighter. Yeah, many things. We put more hands together, we can carry whatever. We can lift up buildings if you have all of us on board with regards to it. It becomes so dangerous, as I shared, when people now allow their egos to not tear apart good things, organizations, institutions. And that's why I said we have to get rid of that. And now I'm going to move into something that, again, that with regards when I talk about the Briggs family and talk about yourself, I'm just about what is your philosophy of life? Your philosophy of life. How do you carry yourself? Because what I did on last week, I told folks about principles such as Egwe Pele. I told them about which means good conduct, good character, good speech. Then I taught them about Mayat. I shared with them about Mayat, truth, justice, righteousness, and reciprocity. And so just get your perspective on what is your philosophy of life? What causes Kandyce Briggs, Sister Kandyce Monroe Briggs, to be this person who she is? Because you're saying some wonderful things. So I'm sitting at home and I'm looking at this and I'm looking at the video and I'm looking at, I'm like saying, wow, she's saying some things that I like. So what is that about you that makes you feel that way and put that out there?
I think more than anything, it all starts with my spirituality. And in our family, God is first. God is first. That is where we counsel. That is where we look for guidance. That is where we sit still and look for answers. That is where we're comforted most. God is first. And to your point, it takes, because we have free will as humans, we also have that ego. And so it takes the discipline, it takes the patience to sit and listen and wait and look for the guidance from our creator. And so that is where my essence comes from. That is where Corey and I connected. I connected with my husband, and that is how we raised our daughter. And it's not always easy. It's not the popular thing. It is not the sexy thing. It's not always the fun thing, but it is the thing that sustains us. And so I believe that God works with me through people, and I love to work with people with God coming through me as well. And that is what I lean on. That is what I lean on every single day.
Great, and that's what I share folks about your philosophy. Your philosophy of life is important because when I know that you have a philosophy of life, I know that you know that there are some borders and some parameters for you, and that I know that you might go over this side right here, but you're not going to go over because I know that long whatever it is, I know that that is cool because I'm like you have a philosophy of life, and so that means that okay, they might go this side right here, but they're not going to go past it, and that is beneficial to me to deal with you, to deal with people. I'm like saying yes, with some people, like I said, they're like a leaf in the wind. Wherever the wind blows, that's where they go. Whatever's the fad and whatever's the wrong thing, they go along with that because they have not shaped and have not, again, and you threw it out there, they have not really incorporated the Most High God into their life because we understand that God is not just some entity just out there. We know
That's
that
right.
God is part of us. God is right. God is with us. That the creators
Mm-hmm.
that then sets up how you need to function. Like for me, God tells me, say, Jamal, tolerate them when they talk about FAMU, Jamal. That what God tells
I knew you were coming with that. I knew you were coming with that. I knew you were coming with that. I knew it. I knew you were coming right back around to it. But the interesting thing about it, our people, we are a spiritual people in general. We are a very spiritual people. I think that it's important to just keep the ego in check, or maybe, like you mentioned earlier, we heal from traumas. We mend some relationships because those things can weigh on us, and that's a different topic about the mental health of our community that absolutely needs to be addressed more extensively with programs and ICD-9 codes so that people with can have insurance coverage to get those things addressed. But it takes order to have a kingdom.
Okay.
It takes order to have a kingdom. You cannot have a kingdom without order. And in order for us to live in and manifest God's kingdom, you need order. And again, it goes back to order within yourself and order within your family. It starts in those two places. You have to have order to have a kingdom. So you mentioned earlier, and let's talk health. It matters what you eat, what you drink, working out, what you listen to, what you see with your eyes, what you talk about, what conversations you hold. Are you conversing about goals and dreams and solutions, or are you gossiping? And it may, again, it's not always the fun thing to talk about or the fun thing to do. And of course, you don't have to do it all the time. However, about 90% of the time, you should be in some type of order and getting yourself in order so that you can manifest the things that you need for yourself and for your family and for your community. And so it's a daily task. So now it's 2021. Everyone has resolutions and vision boards, and so that's great. Those are some practical ways to get yourself started. And then you look at it every day. You create that story, you evolve along with it, and you own it. You have to own it.
Yes, yes, indeed. And one thing when you were talking, I thought about it. I need to tell the people who are listening, checking this out, please share this, please share this, please share this. This is important. Share the information because this is a vehicle for you to get information to plant the seed for us to have a change. And that, again, good information that you put out there. And so that's why I want to ask this with regards to because when some of us begin to talk about things like that, what you're throwing out there, they start talking about that we're being too black, that we're into too much blackness and that, we need to be open. What is blackness to you? What is blackness to you?
Blackness to me is it's I'm glad you asked that question. It's complex here in the US. And there is a version of blackness that's being created for us. How we should act and dress and what we should do, that's being created and kind of manufactured for us. But there are many different other versions, whether it is one that we can gain from history, like the history that you shared, or one that we may create ourselves. And so blackness for me is everything that I want to be, everything that I walk in and being every day. So for me, blackness is integrity. Okay. Blackness is honesty and truth. Our family knows the principles of Ma'at. Obviously the principles of Kwanza. Blackness is order, it is excellence, it is perseverance. That's what it means to me and to our family. And so I encourage really women first and foremost, because where there are women, there are nations. I encourage first and foremost women to decide who they are, who they want to be, write it down, make it plain, and go after that every day. And so they will then be creating what blackness is to them. Don't be told it. Don't be coerced. Don't be oppressed. Be what it is that you want to be. Blackness is freedom. It is freedom.
Good, good. Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I need to be honest with you about something. I'm going to steal something from you. I'm not going to give you any credit with regards to it, but I'm just letting you know, when you had talked about order, for you to have a kingdom, you got to have order to have a kingdom. I was sitting here when you said, I was like, ooh, I like that. I like that's when God then said to me, Jamal, you can take that. You can steal that, Jamal. And you ain't got to give her credit for it. Just acknowledge right now that you're going to steal it. So see, that's why I put it out there. So guess what? What happens on Run Tell That when I steal stuff stays on Run Tell That. Y'all ain't got to tell it. Run Tell the other things. So, but that's like that, where you talk about the order in the kingdom, you got to have order in the kingdom. And that is absolutely true, because then we see when you have mob rule that, again, we go astray. We go off the path, and then we
Mhm.
are oppressive. And then we have some people who are oppressed because of the mob rule. And that is powerful with regards to us now understand to have and maintain that order. And I have to throw this out there too, that Brother Corey Briggs is also a motivational speaker. He's a philosopher also, and I plan
Mhm.
on having him because he is the builder. He's the builder. So you just passed the message on that
I
he's gonna be on
will.
the show too. He's gonna be on the show too. Because again, mad respect for y'all because I see y'all building, and that's the wonderful thing that I've looked and observed, and I've been like, okay, they on top of it, and that you all manifest that. And that's the thing that I tell folks: this is balance that we have to have with couples. Our couples have to have balance. I'm
Yeah.
like, even if you're not married, I'm like saying still you have this balance with regards to how you all function. That we're on this path to build something. It's
Yes.
not about one of us, but it's about all of us. And that when we are successful, that is greatness right there. And then it comes generational. Even if you don't have
Generational.
still generation, because the spirit of success is there. People understand and see what you all have done, what you have achieved, and then other people look and use you as the template. They now look and say, y'all are the template, the model that I need to follow. And that's why I go again, then accolades to you all because you all have been doing it. And that is something that again, that we need to marvel at. Um, this is not necessary for you to per se that you have to give a thought on, but I'm gonna give a thought on some people. I'll give a thought out there to people, brother. That I share this with people. I say that God creates us. The Most High creates us, and that is almost there's a principle they say it's called kun fire kun, which is God says be and it is. God said be and we are here. So that's what it is. God said, be, and you then came into being. And so with that, that means that even if somebody is agnostic or free thinker or atheist, guess what? Nature says for you to be here. And
That's
with you being here, then there's a purpose with regards to your life. There's purposes in your life, as I often tell people, divine purposes. And that I share with that it is not enough for us because there's other concept that we have on the continent called the Sabikun. The Sabikun means the vanguard. And that I tell folks, no, God wants us to be the vanguard of the vanguard. We're supposed to be the
Mhm.
leaders of the leaders. And so I'll just ask you, what's your thoughts with regards to how do we become the leaders of the leaders? How do we manifest our divine purposes in life? You threw some things out there, and if you want to elaborate further on, that's fine. If not, I can run with it. But I always want to make sure my guests, get the opportunity. Because again, I'm not gonna say nothing about FAMU, but I'm just gonna retreat. I'm saying.
Well, I think you become the leaders of the leaders by number one, attending Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. That's the first way.
Okay.
That's the first way. It's the best way, the quickest way to get
Okay.
there.
Yes.
But
Win-win.
I think it, from my experience, it has been after the prayer and the meditation and getting those messages and disciplining myself. It also depends who I'm around, the company that I keep. And there was a Bible study last week that talked about when God said, be fruitful and multiply, that your relationships have to first produce fruit. Your relationships have to first produce fruit before you then multiply or reproduce. If the relationship is not producing fruit, then you do not multiply or reproduce with that relationship. And so the leaders of the leaders will keep themselves disciplined and training themselves every single day in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And then having other people around them that are doing the same thing, that are lifting them up and pulling them up, that are pushing them further, that are holding them accountable, that are challenging them. And iron sharpens iron, as we all know. And so that is how you become a leader amongst leaders. And then you create more leaders. So as I'm being pulled up, I'm pulling someone along with me.
Mm. Yes, yes, yes. And again, you said something that it goes to with some spiritual foundation. We talk about there science and creation, that the Most High, the Creator, gives us science and creation. And like I said, I try to be respectful to folks, even if they don't necessarily subscribe to that there is a higher power. But I'm going to say in nature, there
There's
are
order.
signs in nature that you can see the manifestation and how we need to function and conduct ourselves because the signs are there. And I let people understand you must open up your mind's eye to see beyond the surface, or even open up your mind's ears to hear what's going on. Somebody might be talking, but there's something deeper going on with regards to that. Yet you have to be the ones to not hear that, and that you go forward with regards to that. And I'm going to do something that is quite prejudicial to some people, be somewhat biased with regards to this, and ask your opinion. Why are HBCUs important? I gotta do that. Now, some people might not like that. I gotta say that straight up. That again, HBCUs help create and solidify what we know as the Black middle income
Yes,
family, the
yes.
Black middle income, the Black entrepreneurship. That again, so I'm just asking your opinion regarding why HBCUs important. Even though we joke, we rob, we have rivalries, all this right here. That's family. That's again, that's a manifestation. If you're from St. Paul, if you're from Wiley, if you're from Texas College, if you're from Belander Smith, we're gonna get down. We're gonna be getting down with one another. If you're from Bethune, we're gonna get down. In Florida Memorial, we're gonna get down. So I just want to ask why HBCUs important.
Well, HBCUs are important because they are home. They were providing educational opportunities for us as a people when we were not welcomed and we were not allowed. That history, that momentum, that perseverance is in our DNA, and it is very important to honor and support, continue to support HBCUs because of that. When we didn't have any other place to be educated, we had HBCUs, and they will always remain important for that very reason. And as we fast forward, and now we can go to any university that we would like to, HBCUs are important even more today because it is again a home. There is um, there is something to be said about the family that you feel from the professors, the administrators that want to see you succeed, that want to see you persevere and become successful, and they can see themselves in you. One of my most important professors during my time, Dr. Shante Friday, she saw herself in me and she related to me in a different way during my freshman year of college that helped me sustain and grow. I went from Milwaukee, Wisconsin down to Tallahassee, Florida, had never seen the campus. And I got there in a whole new world. And I had Dr. Shante Friday wrap her arm around me and pull me close and let me know that it's okay. She was like an aunt to me while I was there. And that is the feeling at HBCUs that you just simply cannot, as a person of African descent, you just simply cannot get anywhere else.
Yes, yes, crucial, crucial, because again, we understand that that is a part of who we are. And again, that's not to take anything away from PWIs. And when we say PWIs, I mean predominantly white institutions. That's the name. You have HBCUs, you have PWIs. Some also have MSIs, which are minority serving institutions. And so we're not knocking PWIs. We understand if you go to them, that's fine. But then understand there's a purpose with regards to HBCUs, and that sometimes we want to knock HBCUs when I might say no, a part of our foundation. If we lose them, we lose a part of our economic foundation and our leadership here in this nation right here. So that's why no matter where you are, if there's one around, I say support them. No matter where you are, even if you didn't attend one, you need to support them because again, they helped establish some of your leadership in this country that is around this entire world.
And
Now,
if there was ever any question about where you can go from HBCUs, I think today and the most recent days have shown you can go anywhere from a HBCU. You absolutely can.
That's right. That's right. You don't have to be discouraged. Understand that you are not developing this nation right now. You are the ones that will develop this nation. Like your ancestors did, you are, will be developing this nation. You develop the nation right now. You are the voices. And I tell folks who are in at schools right now, I say, you are the leaders of today, not tomorrow, but today. And again, that's why I say our HBCUs play a tremendous and crucial role with regard to developing the leadership that must be in our communities right now. And
Yes.
time is winding down, but I have to throw out something right now that again ties to our tradition. That with African tradition, that we going to discuss certain things. We talk about that, and I should say, I'm gonna clarify. I tell people that women are a thermometer for societies. Women are a thermometer for societies because what this is one saying that comes from the continent of our people. They say that you know the condition of a society based on the condition of the women. You know the condition of a society based on the condition of the women. And I share folks, I say if women are elevated, then that means that you have an elevated society. If women are oppressed, then that means that society is oppressive. And I tell people, look at what where we live right now. That where we live right now in this society right here, we see that women are oppressed. So that means that that then goes out to all of us. All of us are oppressed. So that's why we have to have a job on our hands, or have a career on our hands. When I'm saying career, I'm saying a duty and obligation to elevate women in our society, our daughters, our mothers, our aunts, our cousins, our sisters. We have a duty to elevate because we elevate them. Guess what? The entire society is elevated. And the
That's right.
last and the last one goes that paradise or heaven or the afterlife lies at the feet of the mother. Paradise lies at the feet of the mother. And so again, that's why I say that's the type of respect and reverence that we should have for our sisters, our women. And that's why I want to let you have the last remarks with regards to this, because the work that you're doing, because that's why I want to make sure to throw that out there, because you're doing the work to help elevate women that will then elevate all of us, and that you are guiding us on that pathway to paradise, because paradise lies at the feet of the mother.
Yes, the where there are women, there are nations.
Yes.
And women, I my heart's desire is to continue to elevate women and empower them, because I think with some of the oppression that women have experienced, we don't always understand the depth of our role, the richness of our role, and sometimes even the simplicity of our role. And what I mean by that is, with CEO of Home, there are so many different aspects of it. I'll just talk about one now. So, women, whether she is a mother, an aunt, a sister, or a spouse, doesn't matter her role. She is nurturing, she is caring for other people, oftentimes more than she's caring for herself. So we have to back up and focus on caring for ourselves so that our cups can be full enough that we have more to give. And then when we're nurturing other people, we can give more. And it can be as simple as the atmosphere that she creates in her home. The woman oftentimes controls that. She controls the budget. She controls what food is being prepared. She controls what is on the television, or if the television is on at all. She controls if there's music being played in her home, or what activities her or her family participates in throughout the week. That is a powerful, powerful role. And something that simple, I encourage women to look at each individual decision that she's making and make sure it's an intentional one with what she wants to create for herself, what she wants to create for her family, and not just let those things be on autopilot
Mm.
or influenced by the latest, greatest fad, or she's just so distracted and burnt out, she's not thinking about it at all. What I feed my family, what my family watches on television, what they listen to, whether we're doing game night or reading, reading a book together as a family. I oftentimes influence that, and women influence that. in their families and in their communities every single day. So when the woman is elevated and when the woman is empowered to really embrace her role and create what she wants out of it, to your point, the community benefits greatly.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And that great closing remarks. Glad to have you. Have to say,
Thank you.
it's an honor. This will not be the last time. We'll have you back again. Also, that one I'm look forward to Brother Corey Briggs. 'Cause again, the Briggs family, one of my favorite families right here. Malcolm and also Betty. That's right. That's what they represent. Next week we're gonna have, for those of you checking us out, next week we're gonna have Brother Ant Maven. Brother Ant Maven, let it be understood about HBCUs and their importance. He put it out there. Sister Tanya, that is our representative, Dr. Tanya Howard Hall, put it out there. But it's been an honor and a pleasure to our great sister Kandyce Monroe Briggs. Continue and see us at the Kwanza Krawl 520. Support 520 during throughout the week. Support it throughout the week. And then on Sunday, we'll be there for the brunch, 11 to 2. We'll be right there. Again,
Yes.
thank you, sister. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.